Welcome to the road to $1 million and let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. Let's start with a quick recap because since yesterday Bitcoin completely fell off a cliff here. We invalidated this bullish divergence right here at about 115.2k. And we broke down below this descending line of support at 115k. So with all of these warning signals flashing in the short term, we continue to absolutely drop off a cliff. And now Bitcoin isn't just in a downtrend on this first angle. We have now created a second angle on this downtrend, which is just getting more and more bearish. However, guys, this cannot continue forever. At some point, we are going to break this downtrend. The question then becomes, are we actually going to make a new higher high, or is this it? Has the bull market already ended for Bitcoin? That is what I'm going to look into in this video today, and we're going to start doing that on the 4-hour time frame first, because notice how right here we broke below this ascending trend line in the Bitcoin price, right around 114.6k, 7k roughly speaking. And this of course is another bearish confirmation signal for us in the short term. Besides that, keep an eye on this 113k level, because we have now confirmed candle closes below this, and in fact we saw a breakdown below, a retest, and then a rejection from there so far. So this again is a warning signal in the short term. If you're looking for a short-term bullish confirmation signal, that would be just breaking back above 113k. In that case, we could potentially even look for a move up to about 114.6k. However, for now on this 4-hour time frame, this is right now technically speaking just bearish. So keep that in mind and be careful with longing anything right now. Next, we should absolutely be looking at this 1-day time frame, because this right here is going to reveal a lot about if we are now heading into a bear market or not. So we are going to start with some market structure here. Notice how right here we have a high and then a lower high coming in. Besides that, we also have a low right here. And if we now would create a lower low below this one at 107k, roughly speaking, guys, then that is it. That is me confirming a technical downtrend for Bitcoin on this higher time frame. Okay, so whether this will have been the full-on bull market top, at that point it doesn't matter a whole lot, because we would need to look for a higher high being created and a higher low being formed as well before we can start looking at higher price action for Bitcoin after that. So what we are talking about right now is if we get a low candle closes below this previous low right here, that is me saying that we are in a technical downtrend. So if that happens, we should absolutely be warned on the higher time frames that things could get really rough for Bitcoin after that. However, we also are in this big level of support on the 1-day time frame, sitting from 112 all the way down to 110k. Now, as always, we want to look for some confluence of our idea, right? And right here you can see that we have this critical level sitting at 111.8k. If we are getting 2-day candle closes below this, this would be pretty rough for Bitcoin, and I would consider this also a bearish confirmation. We're getting the next candle close in about 28 hours from now, so absolutely tune in to tomorrow's video so you get an update on what is going on with this candle here. And lastly, we should also look at this 1 week time frame for Bitcoin, because this right here is what we call a rising wedge pattern, which has already broken out to the downside and now completed a retest right here. So far, this wasn't really a problem because we simply got a low right here and then started bouncing to the upside. But if we are now confirming a red week here, which is of course in about 6 days from now, then it would technically just confirm this target to the downside at $86,000 for Bitcoin. So of course, on the 1 week time frame, we need to be a bit more patient, unlike those really short-term time frames that I showed you earlier in the video. But this is something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on over the next week or so. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on this 1 year time frame, because notice how right here we do have big liquidity to the downside at around 107k, However, I am still not targeting this until I get the bearish confirmation on this 2-day time frame. Until then, this thing can literally just bounce and fully reverse tomorrow. So that may not be the satisfying answer here, but that is objectively what I am looking out for. Moving on to the 1 week time frame, so zooming in quite a bit further to the short term. Yes, of course, there is a little bit of liquidity to the downside left around 111.6k, completely filling this wick here. However, most of that downside liquidity has already been taken out here recently, leaving mostly upside liquidity left at around 119,000. So that is an important detail to keep an eye on. If we look at all of these timeframes here, the next hours to the next couple of days are going to be absolutely critical for Bitcoin, because a lot of decisions will have to be made by the market here. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss any of these important update videos. But regardless, if you do end up subscribing or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.